Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Bully Kid here checking in, and this is going to be a cool and interesting little video because we're doing something completely different. You know, Black Friday was right around the corner, and you know what? We did something different, something that I don't know if I should have done, but we decided to buy a brand new welder. Huh? You guys like that? Well, I'm not going to talk about that welder specifically in this video. We'll have a separate video for that. But on this video, I do want to introduce welding to you guys because I'm sure there's a lot of you on the channel that have no idea about welding, nor did I just a few months ago. But with YouTube, with some research, I can share the information that I learned, pass it along, and hopefully it's valid to some point if I remember correctly. So let's get started. Welding is pretty much when you're combining two pieces of metal, and there's four main and different types of welding, and we're going to go over all four of them here today. Very simply, very basic. I'm not going to confuse you guys. So there is, and you can see right here with my beautiful editing skills, we got stick welding or electrode welding, we have flux welding, we have MIG welding, and we have TIG welding. Those are the four most common kinds of welding. You can go to any kind of store that they sell tools and welders, and you can find either one of those up there. So they all have some pros, some cons. The price ranges from anywhere $89 to, you know, $1,500 depending on what welder you get and such. But let's keep it simple again. Like I said, for this video, I ain't trying to confuse nobody, but I do want to just share some love and some information there for you guys. So the first type of welder we have is electrode and arc. This is a very good type of beginner style of welding, and the reason it's very simple and a good choice for beginners is because it's a very simple complex. You got your welder, you got a positive and a negative ground, and you got your stick, your electrode stick, and that's what causes the arc and the weld. And these things are the most versatile. You can use these in a wide range of applications, and a lot of people will recommend stick or electrode welding for a beginner. And the next type of welding, which is the flux core welding. So it's a very simple, idiot-proof system, and the beauty of the first two types of welders we're discussing right now is that you don't need any kind of gases for the welding to work. You see, in welding, you need a protective gas around the weld itself to make a good weld. In electrode welding, in flux core welding, that gas is actually in the metal, whether it's in the rod in electrode welding or if it's in the spool wire in the flux core welding. Both of these will work, and they won't require any kind of special gases, keeping the budget very minimal, and it's perfect for a hobbyist or someone just trying to learn things out. Okay, the bad thing about these two first kind of welders is that the quality of the welds aren't the greatest, and usually when you're welding you have a lot of spatter, and it's just the welds are going everywhere. They're not the cleanest type of weld, but they are functional and they will weld. Because going on to the next welder, which is your MIG welders are essentially the same thing as a flux core welder. The only difference is instead of the wire being treated with flux and that gas, well, the MIG actually has chambers in the welder itself to feed specific gases, these right here, through the welder right where you are welding. So this creates a much better weld, a much cleaner weld with much less spatter. So a lot of people prefer MIG compared to flux or electrode welding. Now that's just a simple explanation for MIG. Let's not try to make it complicated, and let's jump into the last type of welding, which is TIG welding. TIG welding is great for aluminum, very soft and thin metals. TIG welding is pretty much precision work. You also have to hold an electrode in one hand while you got the arc in the other. A lot of people use a foot pedal to control everything, well, because you're doing both hands. You got to multitask here. This is very sensitive work, but this creates the cleanest welds, the most precise welds. And also, just like the MIG welder, you need gases to run for the TIG because again, the weld needs to be shielded with a gas, creating that very smooth, very beautiful weld. You see a lot of this on titanium, stainless steel, high quality components are TIG welded. So again, just to cut the expenses out from the gases, which are quite expensive, if you are a beginner, I highly recommend getting into electrode welding, stick welding, or flux core welding. And the welder we picked up actually for our purpose is a flux core welder. And again, like I said, we'll get into the details of that flux core welder later on in the future videos, but I just wanted to share some of that information with you guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like the video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
I ain't here for the money, I ain't here for the fame. Though it might be nice to own a jet plane, I'ma do it all for you. Come along and see it's true, but the world is pretty